Hey everyone, my name is Venti and we have yet another week of great deals on the eShop right now, with many titles reaching a brand new low. So we're gonna take a look at 13 awesome games that you might want to add to your collection. Okay, we're gonna start off the list with Swordship, which is a really cool arcade-style shoot-'em-up where you don't actually shoot at your enemies, but rather try to outmaneuver them in your lightning-fast speedboat to turn their arsenal against them. You do this by dodging incoming fire so that enemies end up shooting each other. There is a great balance between trying to position yourself just in the right spot as to draw enemy fire, while at the same time actually evading all the incoming attacks. The game has very simple controls, but they do feel very tight and responsive, which leads to some very satisfying gaming moments. It is lacking a little bit of variety in terms of gameplay modes, but still, matching its lowest price ever of $13.99, this is a great time to dive in. Next up is the Touryst, which is a stunning puzzle adventure game, which has you traversing multiple islands solving puzzles and playing different kinds of minigames. Aside from being one of the best looking games thanks to its excellent lighting system and visual style, the gameplay here is also superb, as even though it takes a pretty low stakes approach with casual tasks such as fetching fruit for the local smoothie bar, some of the platforming and puzzles can still be quite challenging. This is a relatively short experience, and even though it's been a couple of bucks cheaper on the US eShop, this game rarely goes on sale, so at $13.99 you might want to board this flight before it leaves. Now, let's move away from that beautiful island paradise and drinks with tiny umbrellas on them, and we find ourselves in the most literal sense of hell on earth with Doom Eternal. Now, you already know the premise. You will be mowing down legions of demons to a banging soundtrack as you make your way to save humanity. It doesn't get any more metal than that. Anyway, as you probably know, this looks and runs better on other platforms, but still, they did a fantastic job porting this to the Switch, and I love playing it in handheld mode. There is a multiplayer mode, but frankly, I tested it several days at different times and I wasn't able to find one single match. At its lowest price ever of just over $13, remember that the only thing they fear is you, missing out on this deal. Up next is Donut Dodo, which is a love letter to those 80s arcade games such as Burger Time and the original Donkey Kong. In here, you will try to collect these donuts scattered throughout the stage, while keeping clear of enemies and stage hazards to then be able to pick up the big donut and finish the stage. The game is super simple, but at the same time very fun and challenging. You can just try to get to the next stage as quickly as possible, or try to go for the high score, which will have you collect these donuts in a particular order to earn bonus points. Everything about this game, from the visuals, the sound design, the gameplay, is just so very evocative of that era, and it definitely took me back to my childhood playing Burger Time. At its lowest price ever of only $2.99, don't want to miss on this deal. Next on the list is the N-Gaged Master Collection, which includes a trilogy of games that were originally released across the Xbox and Xbox 360 era. In these games, you play as the ninja Ryu Hayabusa, cutting your way through wave after wave of enemies as you make your way through the levels. The combat here is very fast-paced and is elevated by some really cool set pieces, from the obligatory corridor fight to the tranquil cherry blossom forest, which quickly becomes not so peaceful. These games are classics and they really help to shape what the action genre is today, so at its lowest price ever of $27.99, this collection definitely makes the cut. Next up is a Punchuin, which is a match 3 style puzzle game with a gimmick that instead of being in control of the falling pieces, you take control of this little boxing penguin and must punch the incoming blocks in place. It is quite a short game, but I definitely enjoyed it, with the gameplay becoming very challenging towards the later levels. Also, the game has a ton of personality, with its great sound design, cute aesthetic, and even sprinkled several very fun carnival style games to switch things up. If you like puzzle games and at its first ever sale, this one definitely packs a punch. A very short but sweet punch. Moving on to the next game, we have Atelier Ryza, a very beloved JRPG where instead of going into this grandiose quest to save the world from impending doom right away, this is much more of a personal story which takes its time to build up, and in that sense it does succeed in having you care more about these characters. Since you're an alchemist, you will be gathering a lot of resources to craft a plethora of items that will aid you in combat or otherwise. And by the way, I really like how the combat works here, which has you timing inputs for your different party members in real time. They are on a cooldown basis, so it's kind of like Xenoblade Chronicles in a way, however not as complicated. With the third entry of the Ryza series just released, and matching its previous low of $29.99, maybe now it's time to finally transmute that eShop credit into this excellent game. Next on the list is Astronite, which is a very unique looking game which describes itself as a 1-bit Metroidvania. But don't let that simple monochromatic look fool ya. This game is quite challenging, even adding some Souls-like mechanics. You play as an astronaut on a mission to investigate your old homeworld, when suddenly you hit an unknown object and have to make an emergency landing. In typical Metroidvania fashion, you will quickly find yourself stripped of all your gear and abilities and must find a way to recover them while you try to piece together just what happened to your homeworld. The game is more on the shorter side, but it is definitely a quality title, and at its lowest price ever of $10.49, this is one stellar deal. Next we have Neon Abyss, which is an excellent run-and-gun roguelite with a ton of weapon variety. One of the best things about this game is just how high the roof is in terms of upgrades for your weapons. You start out with a pretty basic gun, but at the end of the run you feel like you are the bullet hell. It also has this mechanic where you find these eggs that will hatch into different familiars as you kill enemies and will give you random buffs and even fight by your side. The game has this distinct neon nightclub aesthetic to it, which looks pretty cool, and it has a ton of meta humor breaking the fourth wall constantly. Back when this launched, I remember it having some performance hiccups on bosses, but I since played it again, and while still there, they are substantially minor in comparison. At its lowest price ever of just $6.99, it might be time to stare into the abyss. Now, for a game that needs no introduction, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Now, you probably already played this and maybe even finished it on other platforms, so I'll be brief with this one. This is a very massive open world RPG that will have you play as a Dragonborn, on your quest to find out why is it that dragons are suddenly returning to the land of Skyrim, all the while getting yourself caught in an ongoing civil war. The game is superb, and at its lowest price ever of $23.99, it has never been cheaper to put pots over people's heads and drop them blind on portable mode. Next on the list is Railbound, a cute little puzzle game that tasks you with connecting the train carriages with their locomotive in the right order. Now, you can't directly control the carriages, so instead you will be placing the tracks in such a way as to try to achieve this. It is a really simple premise, but there are some real brain teasers here, especially on the bonus levels. Now, the discount is not that significant, but considering the game just recently came out and at its lowest price ever of $10.39, if you're a fan of puzzle games, maybe it's time to go all aboard with this one. Next up is a marquee golf roguelite. Well, to be honest, it's the only golf roguelite that I know of, but it's a pretty good one. Curse to Golf has you play as a recently deceased pro golfer who got struck by lightning just when you were on the verge of winning a big championship. So you will have to make your way through all the courses in Golf Purgatory to be able to come back to life. In typical golf fashion, you will have to line up the angle as well as the strength of the shot just right to reach the hole under a certain number of shots. However, you also have access to special cards which can give you abilities such as changing the direction of the ball mid-air or have it suddenly weigh more so as to prevent it from reaching a hazard. This is a pretty good golf game by its own right, although the roguelike progression aspects do not feel very substantial, but matching its previous low of $14.99, you might want to pot this one in your library. Lastly, we have the niche pick of the list with Clone Drone in the Danger Zone. This is a voxel-based game all about combat. It has a pretty hilarious story mode, which has you trying to stop an incoming alien invasion from reaching Earth as you take the role of a random human whose mind has been transferred to the body of a robot in order to fight in an arena gladiator style. It sounds ridiculous, but yeah, that's pretty much the point. The combat is pretty unique, as you can't just willy-nilly slice and dice your way through enemies, as weapons can clash into each other, so you really need to tiptoe in and out to be able to get the right opening and angle of attack. The game also features crossplay multiplayer, which is pretty active, but the connection can be a bit hit or miss in the free-for-all. I did try the private duels with a friend, and it's a much smoother experience. Word of warning though, the game does have some performance issues, especially on some of the later parts of the campaign, and it is sorely missing local multiplayer, but if you're willing to look past that, there is definitely a lot of fun to be had here, human. So that's it for this sales video, guys. I really hoped it helped you find something you enjoy, and I really appreciate you watching it. I'm going to be uploading more content like this kinds of sales video, but also reviews, and I also have a couple of other things in mind, so you might want to subscribe to stay on top of that. Anyway guys, as always, have a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!